Welcome. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
We can.
Perfect.
Can hear you.
Great.
My kids just watched Princess Bride the other day. And I was like, Roberts, his last name is Roberts. That's so awesome.
Yes.
Dread Pirate Roberts. Would you like water? You got your
I got water.
Get your
I got my
Stanley.
coffee. I got everything.
yeah, you're loaded. You're set.
It was really baseball didn't get over till almost 10 last night.
Oh, damn.
Oh. At what point we thought it was a good idea to keep 13-year-olds up till 10.
Oh my goodness, I
mean,
know.
I'm
Some
more
of those games
concerned
are way.
about my sleep bedtime, but
That's yours, by the way.
that's like an hour and a half past my bedtime. So
That's
then
your
4:30.
gavel.
Oh, it was mine?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Hopefully we can keep order. Paul? I need you to keep it under control so I don't have to gavel you today. Dang. I have my mouth guarded, so I can't like.
Uh-oh.
Woo! Right on time.
Right on time. 6 o'clock on the nose. You want to open us up?
We ready to get started? Welcome to the day, April 11th, Planning Commission meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner McFadden.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll open for public comment. Please be respectful and follow the guidelines. Keep it to 3 minutes or less. And then make sure to state your name and city. Oh, do I need to do the open? No? No, okay.
Oh, boy.
And we'll close public comment. Action items, number 3, approving the consent agenda from February 22nd, 2024. Any concerns?
I believe I was absent for that one.
You in fact were. I didn't notice anything on it. I had notes on my thing, but. Yeah. I remember that because I approved my very first meeting from the one before and I was like, okay.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve.
Can I second? I'll second that motion. Can I do that? Do we need to do roll call for that? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'll move to action item number 4. Public hearing for modern income housing amendment plan. And then we want to open up to Lance to give us a once over on it first, or do we want to open up the comment
It's
first?
up to you guys. The way it's agenda is public hearings first.
Okay, so we'll open for public hearing. Can I get a motion to open public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on the modern income housing amended plan.
And I'll second that
the
motion.
Chris Beecha.
And yes. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, the floor is yours, sir.
Better turn it on. Paul Sturm, South Weaver City. Comments to the Planning Commission for this meeting. It's on agenda item 4, page 5 of 10. Discussion on modern income housing amended plan. I have some questions and concerns regarding the way in which the material shown is presented. It appears to be somewhat disjointed to the point that it can cause confusion on when events happened and their influences on succeeding events. In paragraph B in the presentation, the sequencing of the information presented is not in a linear time sequence as shown below. You've got winter of 23 before the spring of 23. The dates are also off regarding the general plan. In the winter of 2024, it says, begin the process of updating the general plan. Then it says in the fall of 2024, adopt the general plan. In the second extract, it shows that the city should start updating the general plan. Forget it. Be updated in the winter of 20 and then adopted in the fall of 24. This is out of sequence. It should be adopted in the fall of 2025. The South Weaver City General Plan is not scheduled for completion, adoption, and sign-off until approximately November of 2025. This is 5 years after the current South Weaver City General Plan that is dated 10 November of 20. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. No. Can I get a motion to close public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on modern income housing amended plan.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Number 5, modern income housing amendment review and action. And now I will turn the time over to you, Lance.
State legislature, oh, thank you. State legislature, as you guys are well aware of, because you've adopted this, created the need for the modern income housing plan for each community. South Weaver Cities was submitted and reviewed, and they suggested changes. The city council met you had meetings last fall, and then the city council met on December 12th, 2023, and said, we want to change item I to F. And so I've taken that and just made that switch out in the draft plan that you see before you. Let's see. Also, I've kind of updated some of the numbers with the, newer population and income numbers from 2017 to 2020. Let's see. And so what we're looking for tonight is the Planning Commission's recommendation to the City Council for the approval with any changes you would recommend to go to the City Council for their review. Just walking through that, you can see that the numbers from the census, they jumped quite a bit between 2017 and 2022. So I think that's significant. And then we did have changes. To speak to Paul's comment in the public hearing section, in item B, that wasn't being amended, but I think we should. And I had caught the fall 2024 to 2025. But you guys will, let me know what you guys would recommend changing on those dates, and if they don't flow for you. Then in section F, it does say that we will identify areas for higher density in the community, and then implement that through the general plan process and give public input and change the land use map for the general plan to identify those areas and then implement with rezones. And that'll be part of the process that we'll have to go through to meet our moderate income housing requirements. And of course, each city has to do something. And that's what this is really all about, is making each community in the state do a little something on creating more affordable housing. And that's all I have. Any questions or anything?
Really quick on back on the dates, the updated dates for the moderate income housing needs, like the number of dwelling units, you put 2020 there on all of those, but above it you have 2022. Is it 2022 or 2020 that you updated from 2017?
Yeah, I'll have to double check. I think it could easily be a typo. But I'm wondering if the income information, I don't think it is. I'll double check that. I
Okay,
think the income information is based on 2022 survey numbers, where some of the other data is based on the 2020 census.
Okay.
So
Oh.
that's why that is, but I'll double check and make sure I typed the right number. I could have easily done 22 instead of 20. So,
okay.
but I'll double check and make sure those numbers are correct.
Yep.
And then on the date one, I assumed that any of the seasons that were forward meant to be the next year. Is that
Paul's,
from Paul's point, like that was the only thing I was questioning is, I assume that if it's the future season, that it's meant to be following year, or were this?
well, I think the year is more important.
Right,
The year's more important, but it would also be winter's first,
right.
spring, summer, fall.
Yeah, so
Falls-
if we went to the next year.
Yes, as long as the year,
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you do
Also
the other
ticked
year, then
forward.
The season
Yeah.
turns backwards.
because the year doesn't tick forward going from winter to spring.
Yeah, so my interpretation of how this is written is winter 2024, and then fall of 2024 is, several months. It's winter first, then fall of 24. Winter of 2024 is now, and fall of 2024 will be.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, well, and I totally see what you're saying, so maybe we ought to just,
Yeah, I would.
Maybe note it differently.
Yeah, maybe.
and I'll look at how that's done. I think it's kept to the season like that, so that we're not tied to a specific date with the state.
Okay.
Mhm.
Can you
Okay.
do like quarters? I mean,
Yeah,
like-
yeah, right,
No,
yeah,
quarters,
yeah,
that's-
noted
Oh, yeah.
in quarters,
I'll double check that,
Q1
'cause
versus
it confused me
Q4.
with the season thing.
Yeah, you have a little bit more of a chronological connection there.
That's a good idea.
Now, this is specifically referring to section B, correct? 'Cause we're
I
looking
think
down,
it's B, and then it works, and which we're not really amending, other than we'll double check the dates.
this is the implementation plan.
Correct.
Okay,
So B's no change really. We'll change to fall of 2025 for the adopt and updated general plan. And then E stays the same, and F is new. Obviously.
I'd like to recommend that just for clarity, change these winter, spring, summer, winter annotations to maybe quarters. Yeah,
Because clearly I was completely confused by that part.
Yeah.
So that- Yeah, because I'm like, wait, so we're doing, okay.
yeah, I
So
mean, if
I-
it confuses
that
Chad,
way-
I mean,
yeah.
I
might
get
be
easily confused.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
But the quarter thing, I can grasp. I mean, the season thing makes sense now that I know how we're describing them, but
So, just to make sure that I understand, section, F, that is, being put in, correct? That's being added.
Correct.
So this has a timeline here of complete, by July 2024. The study and identify the commercial parcels that would be eligible for rezone to create new moderate income residential development. around 475 East interchange and the South Weaver Drive interchange. So this is just kind of preliminary to the general plan update, which will happen the following year.
Correct.
Okay. And then, yeah, obviously
And that'll be good information to have presented to the public as we go through the general plan process. They, we'll be able to say, look, we are required to identify these areas and eventually rezone them. Pros and cons to each of these locations, any comments.
yeah,
We are a little hamstrung because we have to do something,
Right.
but we
Yeah.
can get the public comment and make sure we're doing as best we can.
oh, yeah. I mean, no, I agree completely. I mean, being able to put that, that far in advance gives plenty of dwell time, if you will. In the public eye.
Right. My biggest confusion was just the season thing, so we
Okay.
got that there. Chris, did you have anything else?
No, I mean, the only comment, so the 475 and the South Weaver exchange, that technically could change, right? Like if we don't find anything in that area or find a different, better location, we'll update it at that point.
I think this is directing us to those two specific areas.
Okay, so those are the limit of where we will look for this.
Well, for this specific item,
Yes,
to meet
yeah,
the standards for the moderate income housing for the state. As we're doing a general plan for all of South Weaver, yeah, we need to evaluate all the city's needs, all the requirements, so it might go beyond that. But to meet the state requirement, that's what we've got here.
okay.
But for the general plan, I think we would open that up and say, where else can we do it? Because that's.
Yeah,
and
It's pretty tight spots.
Two different things here. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be one thing to meet the state requirement, but I think for the general plan, we would go even more in depth of different options.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we've satisfied the state, but we can now move that location based on the general plan.
Well, this is the minimum.
Right, this is just.
Mhm.
So we're keeping the minimum so we can meet it.
Yeah.
And then as we have a broader discussion in the general plan,
Okay.
I think we'll go a little bit wider.
Sure.
But we don't want to go wider and not meet that for the state.
Yeah.
And this is a little more focused, so we can check that box for the state code.
Okay. That's
So we will have a broader
That's,
discussion.
that's what okay.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were talking about before, is that we're just meeting that
Right.
requirement right now.
Yeah. You want to make sure that this mandatory state mandated requirement is not shorted in our overall conversation. Get the bare minimum taken care of. Yeah.
Okay, at least that's my. If you guys want to change it now, we could. If you want to just say, assess the whole city.
I mean,
No, I think this is a smart way to go, because, I don't think that the city has a large appetite for high density housing. And so, being able to, check the box at the bare minimum, level first, to fulfill that state requirement and then move from there, I think is the smart way to go.
yeah, I mean, and then it's just up to, how you, I guess, getting people involved enough to understand like the impact that this could potentially have, to know that hey, this is the time to start going to the council meetings, ours in the city, and, expressing your concerns. But yeah, I think right now making any other changes without having that opportunity would be, I like just meeting the minimum requirement. Knowing that we did that, now we have, yeah. Chris, you got anything else then, or you?
Nope,
you-
I'm good on my part.
I'll make a motion then, if you're, I guess you got a
Happy
call
you
for a
to make-
motion? Yeah.
I would be happy for you to make a motion.
Okay, all right. Well, I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the public hearing for moderate income housing amended plan with the noted changes that we've discussed, specifically in making clearer the dates as they're, or the periods as they're listed under B. And accepting it, you know, in total, other than that.
I guess, does that cover all those date issues? Yeah.
I guess to be more specific, changing it to a Q1 year format.
Can I get a second?
Second that motion?
And then this one needs to be roll call. Correct? No?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner McFadden,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts.
Aye.
I'm a yes as well. Do we have anything that we want to discuss? With the three of us, 2.5. I mean, you're a full person, but you're just like not present. And it seems delayed from when we're talking, I feel like.
It is a little bit, but that's good.
It's like when you're watching like the news and
And they
the
sit there and
person just
wait.
sits there and waits for 5
Yeah.
minutes before they start talking.
Yeah, thank you, Chad. So I do would like to share some of the nuggets that I got from the
Yeah.
seminar on Monday night. I think it would be beneficial to our commission. The first thing of note that really struck me was that, number one, in our agendas, when we have public hearings, the specific portions of the agenda where there is a public hearing, the lawyer stood up and said, hey, okay, in a public hearing, there are 3 buckets of people. There are the people that clearly have a right to speak at the hearing. The commissioners, the staff, et cetera.
Yeah.
And the applicant. Number 2, there are people who clearly do not have the right to speak during the hearing, which includes the general public who are not immediately affected by the applicant's application. And then 3, there is the bucket of people who may or may not have the right to due process via protected property interests, via public nuisance or the like. And that's a bit of a gray area. Basically, they gave an example of like somebody who, let's say, the applicant has a parcel with an irrigation canal that goes through it. And they're doing something that either destroys or severely limits that irrigation canal. And somebody downstream who's using that irrigation canal, is being affected by this lot, change. And so, that person clearly has a right to speak in that public hearing because they're affected by their decisions being made in that. But, I felt like that was a real clear, discussion there to talk about that whole public hearing process. And then they also kind of went through how there's a very big movement, especially in Utah, where public hearings are kind of being done away with on, and help me on this, Lance, but done away with on administrative issues, but on the legislative issues, public hearings are obviously required. And part of the process, part of the reason why there is because public hearings on those administrative issues are kind of awkward and kind of unnecessary because it's an administrative
Sure.
decision. And, they went over specifically again, I've heard this over and over again, that, as the planning commission body, we make decisions based on evidence, not on public clamor. And, if there is evidence that is there, then obviously that's to be considered, but not on necessarily public clamor, just people just voicing their opinions and emotions without evidence, to be evaluated. And so anyway, I think that I think the last thing that I really liked was that it's something that we do, I think, very well in our agenda, is that we have our administrative and legislative actions divided up in our agendas. And that's really great because, being able to kind of have those differentiated helps, anybody who looks at the agenda, from the general public or from the commission, there's a clear delineation of steps and rules there, because those two are, they're different. Anyway, those are some of the nuggets that I got out of it, and I really, felt were of value.
So what was like your example of people being affected like downstream? So would that be like, you're just hoping that they realize they're downstream then, so they can come and have an opinion? Or do we have like any responsibility in predetermining to help identify who that could be, to give them an opportunity to have an opinion? Right? Is that, because if in that situation, they might not realize it until it's
Sure.
passed.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
and that's a great, I'm glad you kind of pushed on that a little bit, because their answer was that this particular item is more of an art and a case-by-case situation, because there may be people who are affected who really don't care.
Sure.
Right. But I think the nugget is it's worthy to note that the chair has the authority to allow those who may be in that gray area to participate in that public hearing, if they do have due process.
Sure.
In that public hearing, because they are, they're affected somehow by that decision. Another example that they gave was a hospital is adjacent to a piece of property with a gas station planned to be built on that property. And, basically where the planning commission and the staff, need to, talk about making sure that everything, meets code and also satisfies any potential nuisance that might exist, with those two being right next to each other in this hypothetical example. But, knowing that, this gas station is so close to the hospital, in the public hearing, and evaluating that plot or that land, would the hospital have, a chance to voice their opinion, even though they're not the applicant? There could be a nuisance, violation there that they would like to, put on the record as. Now I see a furrowed brow. Yeah.
I'm a little confused because for a public hearing, we're not gonna let anybody gets to speak. You seem to be implying that some people get to speak and other people won't. And I
Yeah.
don't think that would be the case. Now, maybe you, as they state where they live or something like that, or how they're affected or not affected, you might weight your decision with the affected persons, you know, hey, well, that guy's counts a little bit more because he's actually impacted. That would be a fine line as well, but I think it's important that a public hearing, when that is opened, I don't know what they were,
Sure.
because
and-
clearly you heard something, but I'm
Yeah.
a little confused at where they were drawing that line.
Well, and this is good that, you know, you're helping me because I was listening in and,
Yes, a lot.
you know, trying to understand what they were saying. And I'm trying to, I guess, and this is too, me learning the process more. Because with respect to, you know, the public hearing, there are, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it, there are some people's opinions that you can respond to or use as something that, as evidence. But, you know, there are other parts of the hearing where there are people who, you know, go up and speak, share their opinion, but is not necessarily a part of the decision-making process.
And that would be evidence versus clamor.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I was
Just because I'm upset about it, thank you very much and appreciate that you're upset. I'm upset because this is cause going to happen and here's my evidence. That is something you should weigh much more heavily.
Yes, I think that you've clarified that
Yeah,
well.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just trying to understand, and make sure.
As you
we're
start
all on the
explaining
same
more,
page.
that's. Yeah, that makes more sense. That, or I mean, it puts it into better context, I guess. But
Yeah.
now, yeah, I'm following. I think I'm following.
I think that's the point right there. You know, is to be able to allow people to provide evidence that are justifiably allowed to, versus people that, where it would be classified as public clamor.
And just while we're on it, and I don't want to keep going, but
You're good.
there is the distinction between a public meeting and a public hearing. A public meeting is the public can watch you operate and administer the code,
Right.
but they're just there to watch you do your job and the staff do their job. The public hearing is, this is an item, a legislative item, where they get to weigh in and provide their opinion. And then then your council or planning commission will deliver it. So there's kind of those two things in Utah law.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
and the big thing that's been talked about for the last couple of years is that we have public meetings, people come and give all their evidence and all their concerns, but you have to follow the subdivision code. And you have to approve it, no matter, and you've just heard 2 hours of testimony against it. That makes everybody angry.
Yes.
So why are we doing those meetings?
Which is
and
kind of
having all
what we
that public?
talked about at the end of the year on changing some of that stuff anyway. For some of those reasons.
Well,
right?
administrative, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, basically
right,
eliminating
because of the
public
society.
hearings for
Right,
administrative.
yeah, yeah, I think that
Action.
kind of goes along with that.
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They also talked a lot about ex parte communication, which I think that our attorney Jamie has gone over that quite well with our team. I think we understand that. Yeah.
I think he does a really good,
Absolutely.
really good classes when he does them, super knowledgeable. I mean, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, thanks for letting me share that. Thanks for helping me learn it better.
Yeah,
Understand that better.
no, appreciate it.
Yep.
They had intentions to make that happen and yeah, it didn't fit my schedule. So I'm glad you went though.
Yeah.
Well, it's not on here for any new business, so does that mean there just isn't anything we need to discuss, or you don't have anything else you need for us or anything? Oh. Okay. Well, if there is nothing else, do you have anything, Chris? You're just quietly listening away.
Yeah, I'm listening. That's great. I have nothing else.
Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Well, that might be a world record meeting.
No, we've had shorter.
Have we? Not my time.
I think 40 minutes was my previous.
I think we had a 15-minute meeting.
Really?